Camera is rolling. Hi guys, welcome back to The Artist's Way, week number 9. It was a tumultuous week. There was a lot of calling out that was done, and I definitely felt the effects of it. It was, honestly, I think, I'm going to confidently say I think it was probably the hardest week for me personally of this journey. There were just multiple parts of the book, which I'm going to get into, that really I felt called out on such a personal level and asked me to examine things about myself and my beliefs that if I'm just being honest with you guys, I wasn't fully ready for. And that is really exciting and really scary, and honestly what this book is all about. To stand up to our fears, to face them and look them in the eye and say yes, to claim a fear. And then to have compassion for them. I think that was something that was so difficult for me, was to recognize these parts of myself and then show compassion. There's like 3 main things that I really want to get into in this video. And the first section was about fear. And it was talking about how we often call ourselves procrastinators, or we're lazy, or we have the time but we're lazy. And it's not actually that we're lazy. It's actually that we are scared. We are not procrastinating. We have fear. And that fear blocks us from doing the thing that we know we should be doing. So immediately, Julia Cameron jumps right in and pinpoints exactly why we are blocked. Why we as artists sit here and can talk about all the things that we need to do, but when it comes to actually doing them, feel so stuck. She dives next right into her section on enthusiasm. And I want to just pause before I get into enthusiasm and just take note of like how I'm talking right now. If I'm being fully transparent, like I feel claustrophobic. I'm not in my usual self-tape setup. I'm actually dog sitting for my boss right now. And so I have this self-tape setup leaning on me, which I felt was very annoying, but now I'm realizing is could not be more fitting for an amalgamation of how I'm feeling on the inside, which is claustrophobic. And it takes a lot to, in moments like that, relax your shoulders and breathe and look your fear in the face and show compassion. It takes a lot to be reading about the enthusiasm chapter and have it start with, it must take so much discipline to be an artist. We are often told by well-meaning people who are not artists but wish they were. What a temptation. What a seduction. They're inviting us to preen before an admiring audience, to act out the image that is so heroic and Spartan and false. reading that felt like a backstab from a family member. It felt like someone who I've agreed with so much and felt momentum like a wind in my sail just driving me through this book, and then boom! I pride myself in being disciplined. I examine what I need to do and break it down into little goals and then stick to those goals like a soldier. And I take pride in that. And so to be called out like that in this book was frustrating and left me feeling extremely exposed. And that led to probably the hardest hitting thing of this week, which was the creative U-turns. She describes in an artistic U-turn as: an artistic U-turn arrives on a sudden wave of indifference. We greet our newly minted product or our delightful process with, what does it matter anyhow? It's just a start. Everybody else is so much further ahead. Yes, and they will stay that way if we stop working. The point is, we have traveled light years from where we were when we were blocked. We are now on the road, and the road is scary. We begin to be distracted by roadside attractions or detoured by the bumps. She then asks us to examine the last months or even years of our artistry and unearth our own creative U-turns. And meet those U-turns with compassion. That was so difficult. And again, I just feel so closed off. Even just sharing it now. Because this has been such a wondrous and happy process. And this week just really digging into me almost feels embarrassing. And that's really hard to say. I feel like there's almost some shame associated with it. That I didn't just ride this week and, agree with everything and yes, I'm on to the next. That I felt stumped. And the fact that I felt stumped and got it on a page and shared it in a video and I'm looking at it in the face and still sharing compassion is the point of what she's talking about. Exponentially harder than what I've had to do the last couple of weeks. Exponentially harder. Because what Julia Cameron is asking us to do in week 9 of The Artist's Way is something that we as artists shy away from our entire lives. And that is examine those shadow parts of ourselves, those parts of ourselves that we do not like, and accept it, stare at it, and love it. To show such a vulnerable and scared part of our inner child, the love of a hug, is so alarming. It is electrifying for our spirit. And I feel myself, the more I vocalize this, coming alive. This is a different Alex than the one who started this video. I feel lighter. I feel my chest is sticking up, like I feel myself letting love in. God, and it is a scary, scary thing. There's a reason why this happens in week 9. I think this process would have looked a lot different had it come in week 2 or 3 of the journey. What she's asking of us is really difficult. And it's on us to have the courage to embark on the journey. Being an artist is not easy, but we do it anyway. Being a creative takes its toll, but we do it anyway. And as we embark on this difficult journey, we have a shadow that trails behind us, each and every one of us. And it is up to us to turn around and face that shadow and show it love and compassion. That is the artist's way. I'm so grateful I sat down and made this video. I truly was not feeling like this week. It was really hard to even think about, much less write about, or even talk about. And now I am sitting here and talking about how hard this week was and how I really didn't want to do it, but I'm doing it, and I suddenly feel a lot better. My creative U-turn was my TikTok. Let's just air it out exactly as it is. Let's be 100% transparent. My creative U-turn is and was my TikTok. It perfectly embodied everything that I was afraid of. I wanted to perfectly shine and perfect an image and only show the best parts of me, and I was terrified that by showing who I actually am, I was not going to be accepted. And so sharing videos and making creative art, something that once brought me so much joy, was shriveled up and as dry as the desert. Well, we are in a complete drought. And I just feel like it has finally rained. It has finally rained. That is an unbelievable feeling. That is an unbelievable feeling, because it is one thing to just have everything go your way and have it be great and be happy and be sharing that happiness, but to dig into the deep shadow, to stare at the shadow, and to finally have the courage to love it and take action and film these videos and post them on TikTok and act and dance and sing and perform and be who I am and share it vulnerably, feels like rain in a desert. I am so grateful for chapter 9 of this book. I am so grateful. What an unbelievable journey this has been. And we are only 3/4 of the way through. this was a really interesting video. I feel really different than how I started this video. I don't know if it's apparent or not. I have to go back and watch the start, but I feel like the rain has finally come. Wow. Okay. That's all. I love you so much. Bye!